Alright, what is up my mates? Before I start the video, I just want to ask you guys, make sure to like and subscribe. We're on that 200 road to 200. It's gonna be great, it's gonna be epic. But today, I got another Elder Scrolls 6 discussion video. And I'm also putting this out there. I'm gonna attempt to every Saturday, which is when this video will be coming out. Skyrim Saturdays, Skyrim related content every Saturday. I'll try to hold to that. I might not always get there, but this, I hope, is the first of a new epic trend. I know it's Elder Scrolls 6 discussion, but I'll be using Skyrim as I always do. Anyway, so today we're going to be discussing, as you might have guessed from the title, faction. And, well, the best way to start off talking about factions is to talk crap about the current factions. There's a lot wrong with the current factions. It's not that the factions themselves aren't cool. I really love all the factions in Skyrim. The storylines are always great. And my biggest issue is just the recognition aspect and the after. And when you join the companions, they don't recognize you at all. It just doesn't make sense. Like, you could be the Dragonborn, and they're like, oh, who's this whelp? Like, what, bruh? I've done everything in this world. I've conquered the dragons, killed Alduin, I've killed Harkon, done all this, and you just save the companions for last, and they're like, never heard of it. Like, who? Another issue I had was with the College of Winterhold. It could have been the coolest questline, and it is still cool, but like, I wanted it to be like Harry Potter, like you actually had to train and magic and whatnot, and like get to a certain level before you could advance in rank. Well, now they're like, I'll just do some quests. You don't even have to use magic. And then you just immediately become Archmage, pretty much, and it's just kind of like, bruh. I mean, it's just kind of annoying, really. I want to have, like, an authentic experience. And I feel like that was also an issue with the companions, like I talked about earlier. Not just with the recognition aspect, but also the fact that you do literally 2 quest lines for the companions, and then they take you into the circle, and then you do some quest lines, and then, oh, yeah, you're Harbinger now, and then they don't even recognize you as Harbinger most of the time. The only reason I just got called Archmage, I think, is because I have mods that have, like, bring that up more often to give you that recognition. But other than that, like, it doesn't happen much in the vanilla game from what I remember. It's been a while since I played vanilla. I think the best done questline was probably the Dark Brotherhood, just because it was the longest. It made the most sense, because it's like, oh yeah, I'm the listener, so I have to be the boss. And, oh, well, she betrayed me anyway, Astrid. So, yeah, I'm the boss. But my biggest issue with that was, again, the end. Like, it was just a bunch of repeat quests, like, oh, Nervous Farmer, go meet him, and he'll tell you who to kill, and it's like, Nervous, and then you have to kill Nervous Bandit, or something silly like that. It's just kind of like, bruh, please. The coolest part about the Dark Brotherhood was like, okay, you can rebuild the Dawnstar Sanctuary, and like, I think you can recruit 2 people. No, you don't recruit them, that's right. Nazir just he's like, yo, this is the new guy, and then that's it. So now to what factions would actually be in the Elder Scrolls 6. Obviously the main ones would be there, you know, Dark Brotherhood, Thieves Guild, and probably the Synod they would be now. But the biggest issue with having the Dark Brotherhood in Elder Scrolls 6 is, as we know, the Dawnstar Sanctuary is the last sanctuary as of, at least we're assuming, it would also be the Falkreath one if, for some whatever reason, the Dark Brotherhood questline did not happen and was not canon. But I think it's obviously, it's got to be canon. So the Emperor dies, and then they can have like some name, not the Dragonborn, but some name character. I think the Dark Elf guy from the Dark Brotherhood, like, things, you know, the little Dark Elf guy you can spin. So he could be like the listener, and he could send Nazir out to Hammerfell, which is obviously what we're assuming the next game is going to be, just based on other reports, and I think it'll be a combo with High Rock, perhaps an Orsinium DLC after. I just feel like it makes most sense, because who wants to play in a hot desert like the whole time? There's got to be some diversity in biomes. Like in the Skyrim, we kind of got everything. We got forest, we got tundra, we got a lot of snow. And then with the addition to Solstheim, you got the Ashy Lands. And I think there would be a lot of story there. We'll talk about the main quest later in a different video. But anyway, back to my point with the Dark Brotherhood. The listener can send Nazir there Nazir's like, okay, starting up the Dark Brotherhood, and that's how you get recruited. He's just like, okay, yeah, I want you. Or like, I don't know, some sort of kill quest, like you murder someone like the old days, and then he takes notice and he's like, oh shit, okay, you want to join the guild? It's like, oh, alright. You're like the first member, so like, gotta go recruit people, and that would be cool to me, is like starting the whole guild, like a new chapter in Hammerfell. And perhaps even in High Rock, but I think Hammerfell would make the most sense with Nazir, just given his history there. Obviously, we know he was like some Alakir warrior, since he wears the garb, but it's like dyed red. I think the coolest thing they could add with the Dark Brotherhood is more like Assassin's Creed elements and almost some minor parkour, like, and maybe like drop assassination animations, like, that would be cool. I think they should also add a new skill for the assassin where you can have more useful skill points to put towards. Sort of like how a Dawnguard DLC, there was the werewolf and vampire perks, and you can like build up your powers with that. So they could do that after you join the Dark Brotherhood. You could have like a whole poison-tipped arrows or something, like more lethal poisons, bring back poisons and stuff, like with the apple putting it in someone's pocket, like stuff like that would be fun. Or just the ability to taint drinks, like on the table, that would be pretty cool. Like, it's non-lethal, not as violent or whatever ways of murder. But yeah, so there's a lot of cool stuff I'd like to see the Dark Brotherhood do, and maybe more also customization of the uniforms. Like, you can either be Jester, Ugly Robes, or normal. But it'd be, and I don't always want to be red, like maybe you could have like cool camo ones, like all black or something, like so nobody can see you, or camouflage brown to be in the desert and like pop out of the sand and kill someone. That's a little much, but that would be pretty neat. But I think that'll do it for the Dark Brotherhood. Next would be the Thieves Guild questline. Now, the Thieves Guild, as far as I know, is still active everywhere, but every section is like way different, as we know. I'm not sure what, like, how that would work, where it would start. Would it be in like Wayrest or in somewhere in Hammerfell? But I think the coolest main faction line for the Thieves Guild would probably be they could take inspiration from the mod the Grey Cow. That it would, because that took place in the Hammerfell. That's where the Grey Cow like teleported to or whatever. I didn't actually play the whole thing. I watched MXR play it, but I think that would be pretty neat if they brought the Grey Cow back, regardless of that mod. Like some way to get it and bring glory back to the guilds out there. It would also be cool because I brought up the pirate faction earlier in the first video with the traveling ideas. You could have a pirate faction. I think that'd be cool if it was linked to the Thieves Guild, where like you didn't steal from like civilian ships, but you stole from like noble ships or like guilds, like high ranking like mercantile guilds, and like after you steal the goods or whatever, you can like go down to like a port and like have like a black market kind of merchant guy waiting for you to unload the cargo, and he'll pay you for it or whatever. That'd be pretty sick. And also, again, more parkour kind of things, like cool roof running. Like I just imagine the game Thief. I like that aesthetic, but I didn't like the game as much. But it would be neat to like have some city parkour, like in Wayrest. I think would be really cool. Like it's such a huge city from what we see. Imagining all accessible, like the rooftops and everything. Like that would be really awesome. Just hopping around, stealing, picking pockets. And obviously I'd want more after stuff. That's that's gonna be the case every time. Maybe like you can organize jobs. Maybe there's like certain like reputations you have to keep up with, like people like Maven who are like big allies to the guild, and you have to give them a cut. And if you don't, maybe there's like some big war, like underground war. That'd be pretty sick. Next up, now we know the Mages Guild doesn't exist anymore. It's the Synod, and we saw a piece of the Synod in Skyrim. And we sort of see how it could possibly function in Beyond Skyrim Bruma. So, I mean, it's kind of cool, but as we know, it's not as cool as the Mages Guild. It's sort of political, as everyone says. I would much rather see more magic training and more magic to begin with. I'll do a whole video about magic, because I really like magic. So I don't have too much to say about the guilds. I just want more magical training and maybe more staff stuff. And obviously there's the Fighters Guild. I don't have too much to say about the Fighters Guild either, because that was like one of my favorite Oblivion quest lines. I think they'll do a good job again with the Fighters Guild. You know, the jobs, they were good there was enough and it felt like you worked towards and got your top position. There just wasn't enough recognition. What I wanted to really talk about was like the unique faction, sort of like how the College of Winterhold was like a unique faction, or the Companions, even the Dawn Guard. So for the one of the unique factions I definitely think would be really cool is joining the Alakir Warriors. I don't know entirely how that works, but I'm sure there's like bands, like mercenary bands of them, sort of like that one dude. It would be really cool like to get accepted into them if that's like a military faction relating to the main quest. I think that would be neat, sort of like the Civil War factions. I think that might be what's to do with the main quest. Well, I'll talk more about that later, but Alakir Warriors would be really cool to join, since we know that's an active faction, seeing them in Skyrim with that one dude who's looking for Sadia. But the one faction thing that I'd really want to talk about is Knights. Oh man, and especially with how Knights are a big deal in High Rock. We hear so much about the lore of Knights and how they're important in High Rock, so I think it would be cool to have something like really super medievally, like with bards making your own crest. That'd be really cool. Like in The Witcher 3, the Blood and Wine DLC, that was one of my favorite parts, was the Knights tournament and entering as Geralt. You can enter as Geralt or Ravix of Forehorn. I really love that cheesy knight stuff. It's a good time. It's cool if they had like some customization, pick your own like banner and the colors just out of the basic colors, nothing fancy, and modders can take over later and fix that. Some nice light work, and you can do like work, because in the Blood and Wine DLC there was, but it was like you could go to like the knights offices and like get quests to prove your chivalry and whatnot, so that'd be fun. And you could like also sing about your stuff, your deeds, your heroic deeds and stuff. You could have a bard do it, and that's another thing. Obviously I want more useful bards. I forgot to bring that up. More useful bards. That's what I hate about Skyrim. At least let me play the instruments. You don't have to have me sing, but just let me play the instruments, man. And maybe they could do a Fable 2 or Fable 2 and 3 sort of thing, where you just have to press the buttons in an order to get a good sound going, and if you don't, maybe people throw beer at you or rotten food. Anyway, back to the the knights. Yeah, I think it would be cool, and you could work your way up and get your own settlement, like be a knight noble. Like that's how they could incorporate settlement building into the Elder Scrolls 6. We saw Hearthfire do that in Fallout 4, and took that even further. So I would really want to see like something you could build your own like little noble manor and have servants, and that would be cool. And you can like have like your banner hung up everywhere and like shields with your crest adorned everywhere. That'd be cool. I think that's gonna do it for me. I talked about all that I really wanted to talk about with factions. I'm excited to see. I think factions are a big part of Elder Scrolls and just the role-play ability of it, and that's one thing that's really important to me in having a good role-playing game, is factions, things you can join and be a part of and feel cool. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Maybe you have some cool faction ideas that you'd like to share. Of course, feel free. I always want to read what you guys have to say. And yeah, see you guys in the next video.